when we're talking about regulations, I like to think of it as this big funnel. We start with the federal up on top. That's FSMA, stands for Food Safety Modernization Act. We start with the big federal, then we have the guidelines or the regulations for the state of North Dakota. Then we move down to your buyers, because depending on who you're selling to, in some cases your buyers themselves might have things you need to follow. And finally, and last, maybe most importantly, is your own standards of quality and your own thoughts about what you should be doing to keep your product safe. Because ultimately, you want your business to be safe, you want what you're doing to be safe, and you want it to be a quality product. So we're going to start up at the top of the funnel with the Food Safety Modernization Act. And basically, the one we're going to talk about is the Produce Safety Rule. All of these pieces are included in the Food Safety Modernization Act. The whole act focused on prevention of food safety issues. And it has all these pieces, foreign supplier, and animal food, and human food, and all of those things. The one we really look at is the Produce Safety Rule. So, how do you know if the Food Safety Modernization Act applies to you? First thing you ask yourself, do I grow, harvest, pack, or hold produce? Pretty easy question. Do you grow, harvest, pack, or hold? And it's worded that way because we have some people out there that maybe don't grow the produce themselves, but they do store it for others. Or maybe they're a packing house, they don't grow it themselves, but they pack it for others. So it's worded that way. So if the answer is yes, I do grow produce, then we're moving on to the next one. Is it for personal consumption? If you're growing it and it's just for you to consume, you and your family, don't worry about it. The Food Safety Modernization Act does not apply to you. But if it is not all for personal consumption, then we look at the next one. Is any of the produce you grow and sell usually consumed raw? And in your booklet on page 5 is a rarely consumed raw sheet. But basically what this is saying is, think of potatoes. Here in North Dakota, especially in the Red River Valley, we grow a lot of potatoes. Potatoes are something that is rarely consumed raw. We usually cook our potatoes. In other words, it's a piece of produce that has a kill step. It's going to be cooked, so if it is, hopefully not, but if it is contaminated in some way, they will be killed off in the cooking process. So that's where the rarely consumed raw comes in. So is any of the produce you grow and sell usually consumed raw? Well, if you grow cucumbers, yeah, they're consumed raw a lot. Tomatoes, yeah, they're consumed raw a lot. So then we're going to go to the next question, which is, does all of what you have a kill step? And that's what we were just talking about. Does it all have a kill step? Because, think about grapes. We're getting more and more grapes. And right here in Dickinson, we have lovely fields now that's growing grapes and things and other fruits. They have a kill step though, right? They're making it into wine. And in that process, there's a kill step. So, we're not going to worry about their stuff. But if your stuff doesn't have a kill step, here's the last one. And this one, I saved the best for last because this is the one you really need to know. Do you sell $25,000 or less in produce directly to consumers within 275 miles of your home? If you can say yes to that last one, don't worry about the rest. Okay? That $25,000 threshold, that's the key. $25,000 or less in produce directly to consumers within 275 miles of your home. That's the key. If you can say yes to that, the Food Safety Modernization Act does not apply to you. However, isn't there always a however? while you are considered exempt, and you don't need to do anything, right? You don't need to register, you don't need to fill out paperwork, you don't need to follow all the regulations, you are exempt. You do have to prove you're exempt. And how do you do that? You keep records of your sales. And the example that I use is, my mother is 88 years old. She lives in an assisted living facility. She lives on her Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security, and a very little CD that she has, okay? She does not need to do her taxes every year. She does not need to file. But every year, she does them anyway. Every year, she gathers up all of her paperwork that she gets, and she gives them to me to give to my sister, who's an accountant, to fill out the paperwork so we can give it back to her and prove to her that she doesn't need to file. And then she keeps that showing she doesn't need to file, all right? Same sort of thing here. You don't need to do anything, but you want to be able to prove you don't need to do anything. And that can be as simple as a little notebook, you know, that you take to the farmer's market with you that says, you know, Saturday the 25th of June, I sold $300 worth, and then total it up at the end. It doesn't need to be fancy, it doesn't need to be on the computer, in a spreadsheet, or anything like that. Whatever works for you is fine. Just keep a record of your sales. So any questions on the federal? Because that bottom one's the key right there. If you get close to that 25,000 mark, and you're selling stuff that doesn't have a kill step, you're not selling it to a winery or a brewery or a processor or whatever, and you have a question, call me, all right? And I will help walk you through which requirements you need to comply with, and when and how. Okay, but what I'm finding across most of the state is most of our producers aren't close to that 25,000 yet. Okay, we talked about this. Should you be concerned anyway? Yes, because you need to prove it. Yes, because your business might grow, so you need to at least know it's out there, and that's why I talk about it during these sessions. Your business might grow, and hopefully it does. And also, no one wants to make their customers sick, so knowing the regulations and the rules helps you have a safer product.